This customer decided to reuse hair that she had used in her last extensions. And so she brought it to me kind of crinkled up, and I had to first comb it out to actually use it. So I started at the ends of the hair and worked my way up to her hands, which is where the weft that holds the hair together is. I had to do that on several pieces, actually all the hair, and dry it because it was also wet. Typically, this is something I'm not interested in doing at all. If you're going to reuse your hair, then you should prep it for the service. Wash it, lay it flat to dry, already combed out, so it dries that way. And it's ready to use. All I should have to do is flat iron it after putting it, attaching it to the cornrows or whatever extension that we're going to use to put in your hair. To me, reusing hair is kind of difficult because you can't always place it exactly where it was for a perfect cut effect. Because if someone cut that to the shape of your head or a face or facial shape, then sometimes I think it's best, really all the time, cut that cut hair out and replace it with some new hair. So if you're going to reuse hair that was previously in hair extensions, you should be at least buying a pack to include in that second service, because you're going to cut out some of the cut hair that was previously cut so that you could get a new cut for the current style. Also, all this extra work adds extra time to the service. If you looked on my booking site and picked a service, let's say that takes 4 hours. Okay, so it took us a good hour and a half to 2 hours to prep this hair to use it again, which was not cost effective for me because I didn't really get paid for that. In the future, I hope to avoid doing this type of service. However, if I do this type of service, I want to be paid at a fair rate of exchange for doing the service, because this is a whole head of combing out, blowing out, and flat ironing before we can even use the hair, and it took up 2 hours of a service that already took 4 hours. She actually took these extensions out of her own hair, which is not good, because after I actually started doing her hair, I could see plugs of hair missing where she just pulled the beads, which we used to call micro links, just pulled them out to get the extensions out of her head. And that reminds me of when people would wear back in the day that glue that they would use to attach the wefts to their scalp. And when they were ready to take it out, they would just rip their own hair out. Well, over the years, people lost more and more hair, till now some of those same people who used that glue for years are forced to continue to use that glue really for the rest of their lives, or some type of hair replacement method because they literally pulled their own hair out, getting the glued in hair off of their scalp. So in this case, she had micro links, and she just took this out herself. And I've had a couple people tell me, I just took it out myself. Well, when they showed up for me to give them a service, I still found a few links or beads in their hair. And a service should be in there, one, good enough so that the client shouldn't be able to take it out themselves, and two, they should be patient enough to allow someone to take that service out. That lack of patience is a red flag, I think, because if they can't, let's say, maybe afford to get the service taken out properly, then, and they can't afford to buy an extra pack, even though they might be using some of the hair that they previously used, that might be a telltale sign that maybe they can't afford that service. As I'm running specials, I'm kind of starting over from scratch here in the Austin area. And all types of situations are evolving. And so far, this one probably took the cake of what I really don't want to experience. I gotta be honest that it was not a pleasant experience because, one, she ran a whole day late for the appointment. I just happened to have an availability for the next day. And even that appointment the next day ran late by several hours. So what that's telling me is that she didn't really value the appointment. That's how I see it. If someone doesn't... Now, she said to me, I didn't realize my appointment was in another city. But when she MapQuested, I would assume not MapQuest, but maybe Google Maps, to see where she was going prior when she made the appointment. I think I'd like to say, if it was me, I guess I can't really speak for someone else, but I'm going to say if it was me and I booked an appointment to go see someone, first thing I'm going to do is look on the map and see where they are and how many minutes it takes to get to that place. So when she explained to me that, well, I didn't realize I was actually going to Austin. Well, I'm advertising on Craigslist. I'm saying exactly where I am on Craigslist. And when you actually book on my site, it tells you where I am. So it's hard for me to believe the first day that she didn't know where she was going, but she also didn't have the integrity to call me immediately and say, oh, there's a problem. I didn't know how far you were. It's going to take me longer to get to you than I expected. So I reached out and said, is everything okay? Because I thought, well, maybe she had an accident on the road coming this way. So as I had this experience with her where she finally showed up, I'm going to air my videos because at the end, she liked her hair. But I felt like I kind of went through something that was unnecessary. And these are the things I want to avoid in the future. I want to have my appointments booked online, prepaid, and I want to sell hair for those services. I'm not interested in doing business like someone else may do business. I want to do business that's beneficial for me and the crew I may develop.